Budgeting or money management is a fairly common personal finance related topic because it's taking what you make and what you spend and trying to optimize so you can have more money. And not everyone is great with budgeting or money management, which is why a lot of people in the middle class or even people that are in the lower class are poor because they mismanage their money or they spend too much and get into debt. One suggestion that seems to be fairly common from a lot of financial experts is to live frugally, to live below your means. And that's easier said than done sometimes because you might have a salary of 50,000 and your bills somehow might total to 52,000. So just your bills might be more than your what you're making, um, which isn't ideal. You have to look at you know the place you're living, whether you're renting or you own a house. You have to look at you know electric bill. You have to look at transportation, whether it's public transportation or if you own a car. If you own a car, you have to look at your insurance, gas to get to and from, registration's a once a year thing. Uh, so, um, car insurance, you could shop around to see what the cheapest car insurance you can find that would still offer you the coverage you need. Um, the place you're staying. If you're renting, you could shop around to see, um, what the cheapest rent is. Or are, if you own a house, there's only so much you can do as far as a mortgage payment, which is why ideally you would look at your budget before buying a house so you can say, okay, this is how much of a monthly payment I can afford without going over my budget. This is how much I can afford without um, owing more each month than I make. Um, and if you already own a house but your mortgage payments too much for you, it's possible you could sell your house and buy something cheaper, that also isn't going to cost repairs, so your monthly payment could be less. So if your mortgage payment is 1,500, but looking at your budget, all you can really afford is 1,200. Sell that house. That's too much house from a cost perspective, and maybe find a smaller house that costs less. To find that $1,200 mortgage payment that could save that $300. Um, Usually you hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, skip the $5 coffees," and yes, fine. lifestyle choices like buying coffee out can impact how much debt you get into and how much you're saving. So, if you're somehow have your bills less than your income, let's say you're making 50,000 like I said earlier, but instead of owing more than you make, let's say you owe 48,000 and so you'd have 2,000 a year theoretically that you're not spending on bills. Well, if you spend $5 a day on coffee times 365 days in a year, that's going to start adding up real quick. It's not quite going to be the 2000, but it would be close. So little things like that will eat away at what you're trying to save. And you might not even be aware at how much unless you have a budget and you're looking at where you're spending money, which is why, I was talking about can you find a way to lower some of your bills? Your bills might take creative ways to lower them because, if you are renting, you can't exactly go to your landlord and say, well, you're charging me $2,000 and I can only afford 1,800. They're not gonna say, oh, I I can do that for you because your landlord also has expenses. So that $200 you're asking them to lower your rent, that might be the difference between them being able to pay their bills or not. So hopefully you found some value in this and watch for some more personal finance related videos over the course of this month. Thank you and have a good day.